Good morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. Apologies for the disorganised content this morning. I did it again, accidentally deleted my notes this morning, heaven knows how, but I did. So I've had to do them all again. These are in no particular order, so if it does sound like a lot of disorganised twaddle, I do apologise. I've done my best. We'll see how we go. I'll start off with a question now. I think I've asked this before at work. As of today, I have 162 videos on the YouTube channel. Now, I've got all these on my hard drive, on several different hard drives actually, external ones. The question is, do I really need to keep them all? Because they are taking up a lot of space. If you bear in mind that each one is between 4 and 6 gigs, you can see my problem. All I want to know is, do I honestly really need to keep them all, or can I delete them? You know, has there ever been an instance of YouTube going down and losing all of its content or anything like that? That's really my only question, because I would really like to delete a lot of them. I would probably keep some of the early ones, so I could basically go back and look at how far I've come with presenting and this, that and the other. But a lot of them are basically the same thing every week. So that's my question. Do I really need to keep them all? I assume they're backed up somewhere, but I would rather not, if I have to, keep them on hard drives, because there are just so many of them. If I take off the ones that I actually want to keep, I'd probably still have about 140. So just let me know in the comments below, or whatever, whether it's essential that I do hold on to these things. As I say, it's 162 as of today, and that's a lot of videos. I had no idea I'd done that many. So I mean, if I've been doing one a week, that's possibly 3 years that I've been doing this now. So, and I do occasionally like to look at, especially the very first video I did, which was an absolute nightmare. I'm doing a lot of sort of holding videos up in front of my face and pausing for too long, and it was pretty bad. But when you look at how I've come on over the last sort of 2-3 years, I'm quite impressed. So yeah, do I need to keep them? That's my only question. So my subscribers, I've lost one. There were 113 last week, and it's down to 112 now. The only thing that I did different last week was I used the dreaded C word. Guy Jessup Braithwaite, you swine, I blame you for this. I was reading out one of your comments and rather than just change the word, I actually used it. So I'm only guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing that's probably why somebody knocked me off the channel, not having language like that on a Sunday. Oh God. I'm not that fussed, to be honest. It doesn't really bother me. If somebody out there is that thin-skinned, then so be it. I mean, I probably won't use the word again. No more than I would use sort of, slurs of any sort. But it did kind of come out last week, and the second I said it, I thought, oh blimey, perhaps I shouldn't have said that. So, yeah, it's cost me a subscriber, that one. Well, I assume that's what it is. I don't know. It could be anything. So we'll see how we go. See if I can manage to lose any more this week. There is a little section coming up a little bit later that could very well lose me a handful, but we'll see how we go. Comments on last week's video. Scott, excellent video, Tony, loved it, mate. Congratulations on getting nominated in Dave's video, very well deserved. Thanks, Scott, much appreciated. Thank you for the kind words about my reviews. I love your reviews, mate, love listening to them and reading them. I really appreciate it. Homicidal is great, glad you got a copy of it. Really looking forward to having a look at that. I saw it many years ago, but for the life of me, I can't remember what the twist is. But I've got something to show you a little bit later on that one. What I did talk about last week was William Castle movies being basically gimmick films. Now, Homicidal has got, as I said last week, a fright break, which is a 1-minute break, which basically sort of gives you a chance to gather your thoughts and steady your nerves before the alarming ending comes up. Just bear with me a second. I've got something popped up on my screen here that's blocking all of my notes, and I'm going to delete this program after I've finished this because it's driving me nuts. Spybot, it's to do with spyware and stuff like that. I hardly ever use it, and for some reason this window pops up every now and then and it blocks everything off, so that's going after I've done this. So I was also talking about a movie called The Beast Must Die, which had a werewolf break, and you said you were thinking of getting it. That's the one you want, Scott, the Indicator release. It's a cracking release. I mean, I'll just show you the back here. Look at that, for a bunch of special features. You've got all sorts on there, documentaries, photo galleries, scripts and all sorts. But this is a cracking movie anyway. It's an old Amicus type film. It's just really, really good. I'd highly recommend it if you like sort of novelty movies with something a little bit different towards the end. That is definitely one to go for. And I had a look on Indicator's site. I didn't realise actually got quite so many of them. But I had a look on their website and placed an order which arrived a few days later, which I'll be showing off a little bit later on. But they have got some awesome titles in there. I'm not done with them yet. There are quite a few on there that I would like to get. And the thing with Indicator, it's all about the extras. They always come out with a great big list of documentaries, interviews, trailers, photo galleries, all sorts of stuff. They take very great care with their releases, as Arrow do. They're very, very similar, and as Network did. And I've still heard nothing more on that, by the way. I don't think it's been officially announced that Network have closed, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that they have gone. But that was another company that used to take very great care with their releases, and I shall miss them. But yes, I shall be looking on Arrow's site a little bit later on to see what releases they've got coming up. But yeah, Indicator is a great site. If you've never used it, it's very, very fast, very, very efficient. I placed the order on, I think it was Sunday, and I believe it arrived about Wednesday. So I was quite pleased with that. Now then, Steve Mack, you put, I know I have a niche following, but from time to time I get a surge in views, over 200 in just 2 days for Time Bandits. It's a popular movie, mate. It's a very popular movie. And it makes it worth it. As for buying it, get the Arrow release as the Criterion Blu-ray. It's a region A, and it will have all the features on it, but of course 4K is region free. Not sure I'd bother with the 4K on the Time Bandits. Cracking film, and I would like it on Blu-ray without a doubt, but I'm not sure I'd go as far as to get the 4K of that one. Somebody may change my mind on that, I don't know. But thanks for the comment, mate. Guy, oh my God. Great as ever, matey. Glad my comments made you chuckle. They did, to be fair, they did. On to today's vid. You don't listen to film critics, you say. Bollocks. Here we go again. You hang on every bit of crap that comes out of Kermode's mouth. I can't argue with that. I don't necessarily believe everything that he says. If he says a film is rubbish, I will watch it, and if I don't agree with it, I will, say, I really liked it. I just enjoy the way that he reviews movies. I always have done. Professional reviewers are just brilliant. I don't take very much notice of them as far as whether I'm going to watch a movie or not. If I want to watch something, I will watch it, and I won't let any critic tell me it's absolute crap and you don't need to watch it because I'm telling you it's rubbish. No, sorry, I will make up my own mind on that. But yes, I do hang on Mark Kermode's every word. I do. Him and Simon Mayo. I enjoy their podcast every week, and I do enjoy it. And as I said before, he sees movies in a completely different way to the rest of us. And it's just nice to listen to a movie being talked about, and then you think, my God, I never saw it that way. And it does make you see it completely differently. But yes, I do rather take note of what he says. But as for swaying me on what I'm going to watch, definitely not. Absolutely not. Rick's review. These notes are bleeding terrible today. Rick's review of We Still Kill the Old Way. What a cracking movie. I've actually seen this. Yeah, I agree with you, Rick. It's an absolutely brilliant uh, modern day gangster movie. For those of you that don't know, an old geezer, an old gangster, is murdered by a feral street gang. Um, he's basically trying to rescue a girl that they've cornered, and they end up killing him. Um, so the brother of the of the victim is an old East End gangster played by Ian Ogilvy. Completely different to playing Simon Templar in Return of the Saint in the 70s. I've never seen him do a role like this, play a role like this rather. It really is absolutely brilliant. And basically, he comes back to London, gathers his old firm together, and they go after this street gang. Um, and I like nothing better than watching a load of gobby chavs get what's coming to them. And I will say this now. This is the bit that'll probably lose me a few more subscribers. I don't know. I agree with you about the accents of these kids, Rick, and you are absolutely bang on the money with it. Where the hell did this weird Jamaican dialect come from? You, I watch it and I've heard it. I've actually heard it being used where I work. We've had odd sort of people start there, young lads, and occasionally they do talk like that. And I mean, I've never spoken to him because if they ever came up to me, my first thing would be to say, "Speak English. Just go away, learn English, and then come back and talk to me. I don't want to talk to you." But I don't get it. They all seem to have adopted this weird Jamaican thing. It's like you're white, and as far as I know, you weren't born in Jamaica. So where the fuck has this stupid way of talking come from? And there's a lot of it in We Still Kill the Old Way with this gang, and that was the only thing that wound me up about it, apart from the fact that these kids are absolute bloody scumbags, was the fact that they're just talking in this weird. I don't know. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. Maybe I'm just an old fart and I don't get it. But I really don't understand where this came from. As far as I'm aware, it's a fairly recent thing. I don't recall anybody, from 20 years plus back, talking like that. I'm sure they didn't. Not unless they were black and they were from the West Indies, that Jamaica or whatever. But no, I honestly don't understand it. But the film itself, absolutely superb, Rick. Quite agree with you. And if you've not seen it, it's called We Still Kill the Old Way, and I would highly recommend it if you like an old-fashioned gangster movie with lots of swearing, lots of brutality, and where you get to see basically a load of gobby kids get exterminated. Wonderful. Yeah, highly recommended. Let's see. Jason, you mentioned this week 30 years since Jurassic Park was released. Blimey, that makes you feel old, doesn't it? I remember going to see that again at Burton Odeon. I actually booked tickets to go and see it, and was sat there open mouthed for most of the 2 hours. At the special effects, the dinosaurs were just awesome. I mean, it's probably very different now. This is 30 years on, but you saying that, it just made me think. I think of a lot of movies from the 70s, and movies like Deliverance, The Exorcist, The Godfather, and I talk about them at work when we're talking about movies and this, that, and the other. And some of the people have heard of them but never seen them, and there's me going, "Oh, how can you have not seen that?" And it's like, hang on a minute, this was 50 years ago, 50 years ago, for The Godfather and The Exorcist. Where the hell does the time go? So yeah, it does. Yeah, it does kind of creep up on you, and it is surprising when you look at it. Um, just where the time goes. Excuse me if I sound a little bit disjointed. These notes are all over the place. Dave Lowe, you put a post on about The Hills Have Eyes. You picked up an Arrow 4K release, which looks absolutely awesome, by the way. Today's pickup, great price from Amazon too. Only ever seen the remake. I hope this ain't crap. It's not, Dave, honestly. But then again, this is coming from the guy who recommended to you A Clockwork Orange and Straw Dogs. I think you like A Clockwork Orange, but Straw Dogs I don't think you were impressed with at all. Hills Have Eyes is a different kettle of fish. This is an early, obviously, Wes Craven movie. I remember when it came out, I wasn't actually old enough to go to the cinema and see it. It was an X certificate. I was working at Comet at the time, and there was a lady there that had been to see it, and she described it as vicious and brutal. And obviously I found out what that was a few years later. Dave Oliver, you said it's really good, but it's one of the few times I actually like the remake more. Didn't see that one coming. That was me thinking you were a bit of a traditionalist with the horrors. I enjoyed the remake, but I think it was a little bit too heavy on the gore and the brutality for me. I would watch it again. I think I would watch it again. The same goes for the sequel to that one that come a couple of years later. But for some reason, that kind of surprised me when you said that. Kelly Work, welcome to the group, by the way. I've not seen you comment before. You said the original is great, and it is. It's a brilliant movie, Dave. I don't think you'll regret watching it and purchasing it on 4K. I would love to know what it looks like on 4K, by the way. It's another one of those movies, one of those old movies that I think, could it possibly look any better than it does on Blu-ray? I've got the Arrow Blu-ray somewhere upstairs, and I've also got the Hills Have Eyes Part 2, which, if you've not seen it, Dave, the sequel is absolutely brilliant. It's got a soundtrack that sounds like Friday the 13th because it was done by the same guy, Harry Manfredini, and I'd highly recommend it. It is a cracking sequel. So if you've got the remakes 1 and 2, I would highly recommend that you get Part 2 of The Hills Have Eyes, which was made about, I believe, 1981, I believe. So yeah, it's definitely worth getting if you've not got it. But is it crap? No, definitely not. Steve Mack again, intrigued by Fists in the Pocket. I've read a couple of reviews on it, and it sounds intriguing. For those of you that don't know, it's an Italian movie from the mid-60s. Caused a bit of controversy when it came out due to the storyline and some of the things that's in it. It's definitely one that I would love to have a look at. Why are Criterion discs so expensive? I've gone onto Amazon to have a look last night because I was seriously thinking of placing an order for it, and it's £28. I'm just very, very curious to know what is it about Criterion discs that makes them so pricey. I mean, you're our Criterion guy. You could probably explain it to me. I would love to buy quite a few from there, but I can't justify sort of nearly £30 for one disc. And as far as I could tell, there weren't that many extras on it. There's a few, because obviously I watched your video and I checked out the extras on that, but not in the league of like Indicator or Arrow or something like that. So if there's an answer to this, I'd appreciate that one, Steve. Chris, Princess Bride Criterion release coming up. Tell me this isn't a thing of beauty. It's got a September 5th US release. Hopefully the same for the UK. It's got some amazing extras. I actually checked the Criterion site for this one, and it does look like an awesome piece of kit. I can very much see you grabbing hold of that. I've never seen it. I know this will come as absolutely no surprise to anybody, but I've never watched The Princess Bride. I have got it somewhere, but I've never had a chance to watch it. Well, not had a chance, I just haven't had to watch it. So it's maybe one that I need to take in, and perhaps if the Criterion release is not too pricey, maybe that would be the way to be introduced to it. I do remember watching the trailer a lot years and years ago. It was on a lot of videotapes that I rented out. So I'm kind of familiar with the movie, but I've not actually seen the whole thing all the way through. But I'd certainly be up for taking a look at that. Now then, a few bits of news. The French Connection, directed by William Friedkin in 1971. William Friedkin also directed The Exorcist, To Live and Die in LA, Cruise In, a hard-edged director, and this movie was no different. It garnered quite a few Oscars, I believe, in 1971. The point of this is, Let's see. Fans of the classic film The French Connection have taken to social media to express their anger at a scene from the film being censored without warning. Here we go again. Those familiar with the William Friedkin 1971 drama, which can currently be streamed via the Criterion channel, were surprised when a new edit, approximately 10 minutes into the film, appeared. The scene in question involves a conversation between characters Popeye Doyle, played by Gene Hackman, and Buddy Cloudy Russo, played by Roy Scheider, and a racial slur is uttered. How dare they? Oh, I really don't want to get into this because I'll start ranting again. I mean, on Disney Plus in the UK and Canada, the film remains unedited. So this is just, as far as I can tell, in the US. I mean, is this the way that they're all going? You know, are we going to see, you know, The Godfather censored? Movies like Mandingo, are they going to be censored when they're re-released, if they're ever re-released? This has got to stop at some point. We've all got to take a stand and just not buy these edited versions. I personally would not watch anything that was cut or censored. It's just against my principle to do it. And with the case of the French Connection, I actually went on to HMV's site, and they've got the original version on a double bill on a Blu-ray with French Connection 2, which came out I think a year later or a couple of years later. So I will be going down there sometime this week and grabbing a copy of that before the next release comes out, and you find out that you know, that certain lines have been censored. And I know it's only one scene or one line, but that's not the point. The fact that they're doing this is seriously starting to piss me off. And it's also causing a bit of a frenzy with people who are sort of going out there and basically buying these things up as quickly as they can before they get re-released in cut versions. So no, definitely not in favour of that. The other bit of news, Engelbert Humperdinck. None of you will know him, I'm sure. He's an old lounge style singer, similar to sort of Jack Jones, Frank Sinatra. He's been around for decades. He wants Harry Styles to play him in a biopic of his life. He basically loved the Elvis movie because he was a close personal friend of Elvis at the time. He's described the movie as very accurate, very sort of true as it was. And he said that he wants Harry Styles to play him in a biopic. Now, Harry Styles has already dipped his toe in the acting pool. He's not come out of it particularly well. I've not seen any of his movies yet. There are two that I want to take a look at. One called My Policeman and one called Don't Worry Darling, which I believe premieres on Sky next week. So I will be taking a look at that. But him playing Engelbert Humperdinck, I don't see any reason why not. He's certainly got the flamboyance about him to do it. So let's see. Right, very quickly I'll run through the... Dave, I might have to put your top 10 on the back burner again because I'm coming up to 23 minutes and I don't want to rush it. But I'm off this week, so I'm definitely going to be recording a video or two this week. So three bins. One of those days. 3 movies to bin this week. Let's see. You know what, the collection is coming down nicely, but as you'll see in a minute, I'm topping them up as fast as I'm doing them. First one, The Best of Morecambe and Wise. Now, I've got a Morecambe and Wise box set, which has basically got every single television show that they did for the BBC. So I don't really have any use for that one, so that one's going. Next one, Memento. I watched this a few months ago, and it absolutely mashed my brain. I don't even know where to start as far as describing the plot. It's to do with a guy that's got short-term memory loss. There are scenes repeated. There are scenes seen from different angles. It's Christopher Nolan. Need I say more? Will I ever watch it again? Absolutely not. And finally, this is this week's controversial choice, The War Horse. Now, I watched this again a few months ago. Absolutely loved it, don't get me wrong, but it is an emotionally draining movie. The scene where he's running across the battlefield through the barbed wire and basically getting trapped in the barbed wire fencing is just harrowing. How this ever got away with the 12 certificate, I don't know. But it's a beautiful film. It's absolutely gorgeous. But again, will I watch it again? Highly unlikely. So I get the feeling that's, yeah, maybe I'll change my mind on that one. I don't know. What do you think? But as far as I know, that's me three. Now, series I grew up with this week from 1977. I used to love cop shows. American cop shows. I used to love Kojak, Cannon, all of those Saturday night staples. This was my all-time favourite that I grew up with, Starsky and Hutch. I loved this series, absolutely loved it. I've got all 4 seasons. I'm going to start watching this because I think last time I tried watching it, I think I got 2 episodes in and sort of abandoned it. But I will be having a look at this. Very fond memories of this series. I was 15 when this came out. I joined the Starsky and Hutch fan club. They had one, yeah, which entitled you to a weekly fan magazine, monthly fan magazine, which I've still got up in the attic. I believe you also got a replica warrant card that you could put your photograph on. I don't recall ever using it, but it is up there somewhere, and if ever I go up in that attic, which is unlikely, and I find it, I will show you. I also followed David Soul's music career quite avidly. Enjoyed his music. I've got 2 or 3 of his albums on vinyl upstairs, and I've got a couple of them on CD. But this series was just the ultimate buddy cop movie, which they're 10 a penny now at the cinema, what with Lethal Weapon and all that sort of thing. But back then, this was a rare thing. And these 2 guys, David Soul and Paul Michael Glaser, just gelled. They were just superb together. You'd obviously got Huggy Bear, who was the informer. It was just a superb series. The music was great. The stories were brilliant. It ran for 4 seasons, and I will be taking a look at that. But that is this week's series that I grew up with. Now, very quickly, I will show you what I've been buying this week. Let's see. William Castle. Step right up, I'm going to scare the pants off America. This is the guy I was talking about last week that made the gimmick movies. I went straight onto Amazon, found this book about his life, which I'm definitely going to be having a read of, hopefully this week, which will explain how these movies came about. And obviously I couldn't get anything to do with William Castle without grabbing a handful of his movies. First off, this is the one I was trying to describe to you, Scott, The Tingler. This was done in, what was the processor used for this? Percepto. And this is where they wired the cinema seats up to a small electrical charge, which they sent through the cinema when the Tingler was loose. Take a look at that if you get a chance. It's a cracking movie. I haven't seen it for years. But again, indicator, loads of extras. And I grabbed a copy of 13 Ghosts. This is the original version of the movie that came out, I believe, in the early 2000s. For those of you that didn't know, it was originally a William Castle movie. And again, we've got loads of extras on that. And this one, I've heard of this, but I have no idea what it's about. But it was on the same, I think it was 3 for £30 or something. So Mr. Sardonicus. I'm going to go into this one completely blind, but again, loads of extras. And this one, an absolute banger from 1977. I went to see this on a double bill with a movie called The Savage Bees. They were both double A certificate. How this ever got away with over 14, I don't know. This really should have been an X. The Incredible Melting Man. It is not as stupid as it sounds. An astronaut comes back from space and basically has picked up some kind of a virus that melts his skin very slowly and turns him psychotic. This is a nasty film. It was in 1977. I'm really looking forward to having a look at this week. I'm off work this week. What I'm planning on doing is having a 1977 day, which is quite easily one of my favourite years. It's going to involve Close Encounters, Saturday Night Fever, Star Wars, Candle Shoe, which I remember seeing, that was a Disney movie, and this wonderful film. And again, it's an Arrow release, so you've got loads of extras. And the beautiful thing about this is now deleted. I got this off eBay for a song, about £11, I think it was. The case is a bit battered, but the disc, I believe, plays fine, but I've not tried it yet, so I'll slightly let you know on that one. But that, I'm really looking forward to taking a look at. Right, I'm coming up to 30 minutes. In fact, I'm over 30 minutes, so I'm going to have to go. Everything that I've not done this week, I shall pick up next week. There's a couple of more bits that I wanted to do, including Dave's Top 10. Please forgive me, Dave. I will do it next week. I promise, promise, promise. Have a brilliant week, folks. Thanks ever so much for joining me. If you've enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, share, all that. Have a brilliant week. Hopefully we've done away with the thunderstorms now and we're back to sunshine again. Have fun, folks, and I will talk to you all again very, very soon. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Ta-ra.